It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And listen, it is a Health Tuesday, and I'm pretty sure you need this one because of cold weather settling in. South Africa is seeing a significant increase in respiratory illnesses. Now, in the past few weeks alone, testing shows about 15.8% of samples were positive for influenza and 16.7% for RSV. And we'll get into what RSV is in just a bit.
Oh, well, you don't want to tell us what it is right now. You don't want to explain to us.
Respiratory.
Rhino. We'll get on to it. Well, it's affecting a lot of us, so we best know more about it. Alarmingly, the flu season began 4 weeks earlier than in 2024. That's a little sneaky, and the earliest start since 2010, in fact. This rise especially threatens young children, infants, older adults, and immune-compromised individuals. Well, luckily for us today, pediatrician on tap, Dr. Anisa Barhead, is here to explain how families can protect their children and themselves. Doc, thank you so much, but you do yourself in by wearing your scrubs here.
Yes.
Now you're on the clock.
I've got to look the part, and I'm ready for flu season. It's hitting us hard.
Well, I don't think any of us were ready. It came early, and it does feel like here it's just been circulating. It's never left the building. Has it been really hectic on your side?
It has been. So we call winter season the respiratory surge season for us doctors. So we're already planning next year's season because we know we need a carbo load, and we know when summers kind of start settling down and going away, all of us pediatricians are going, okay, what's happening with the wards? Let's get extra doctors, let's get extra staff because we know our wards are going to get full.
I can see you running laps, doing sprints, hill sprints.
Like, you are sorted, you are taken care of. But when it comes to the parents, we also want to equip them in the best way. So what are some of those symptoms that they can look out for with their children?
So early symptoms is always the snotty nose, bit of sneezing, looking a bit off. Sometimes the children are looking a bit lethargic. And then it progresses over to being sometimes just starting off with a dry cough, and then progresses to that naughty, kind of wet, moist, noisy breathing kind of cough. And later on, they can actually be quite lethargic and not want to actually eat and drink.
And just think of yourself when you've got full-on flu. Like, I know we joke about the man flu, but your body struggles to distinguish what's going on here, and it feels like you're dying.
Yes.
So in little people, they don't necessarily have the coping mechanisms as much as the immune system. So why is it that children and young children are so much more at risk over that time? Is it an immune system thing?
If you think about it, as adults, we're always going through flu season. So we're kind of getting those infections and we build up our immune system. Children are still developing. But the biggest thing is children's got smaller airways than us. So just a slight amount of inflammation will cause them to actually become more symptomatic.
Now, earlier on, we did mention some data, some facts, and I want to get into this. Also, you have to break down what RSV is. But testing from early June shows in almost 1 in 6 samples tested positive for influenza, right? So how widespread is this really? Because if we look at 1 in 6 in this circle right now,
Who is the one?
Who is the one?
Exactly.
Patient zero. So RSV is respiratory syncytial virus. Okay, it's the nasty virus that there isn't really kind of much things to kind of treat them for. Generally, this year, we normally expect RSV to start around mid-Feb and kind of start the kind of flu season off. But this year, RSV started a month later. Flu season started a month earlier, and it started with influenza A. So that's why it feels like it hit harder. And the issue is that the pandemic kind of screwed us over. So what happened was,
throwing everything out.
so we're now 5 years later, we're kind of starting to reset into kind of those old ways. And that's why it's kind of looking like the data, it's kind of hard to predict the data because it's kind of starting to reset a bit.
And to be quite honest, Doc, we know data can be used in whichever way, whatever agenda it needs to be applied. And COVID taught us that, certainly as well. So I bless you for finding the human connection through all of this, because you must be thinking, like, what is going on with the world?
I know, that's what us doctors are saying, because we're seeing these kids and then we're looking and going, we see the swab and we're like, wait, why is it picking up now? And what's going on? It's very tricky.
Should we be alarmed? Is it a chance to shore up the defences, circle the wagons, or is it just par for the course?
This is part of the normal winter season. I think the big thing is that what we're trying to preempt is trying to protect a lot of these infections. So getting those flu vaccines early on, because we do know that especially with flu season, there's going to be quite a few waves of that flu, and we're already hit 2. We've during school holidays, so everything's kind of slowly resetting. Everyone's kind of hibernating at home, hiding away from the bugs. But when school starts next week,
back into the petri.
we're going to start kind of carbo loading for that again.
Okay, so thankfully I don't have kids yet. I'll get there eventually. I'll try to stay safe as much as I can. Quick one, Doc. When should your kids see a doctor? When should parents actually get into that gear?
So with the viruses, they tend to peak around day 2 to day 3. So we expect them to be at their worst. Generally should start settling down after that. So if they're not settling down, they're finding their symptoms are actually looking a bit more worse than what you would normally expect. They're struggling to eat or drink, if they're having trouble breathing, especially if they're using the abdominal muscles to actually breathe, or smaller little ones, we call it head bobbing.
Trying to carry
where
the
they're
load.
starting to kind of look like they're running the marathon, but they're just sitting there. That's when you say you need to go to the emergency.
Lungs, though, they're tiny little lungs.
Tiny
man.
lungs,
And
no
little
muscles.
respiratory- Oh,
Yeah, they just...
no. Kids are strong. Don't be fooled. Kids are tough little things. I would like you, Doc, to just think about this, and you guys and teachers can think about this at home. What point is it contagious, and can we or can we not allow them to go to school?
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beauties. It's winter, it's flu season, it's cold and it's raining, and we don't care. We're going to fight back. But we've got a battle on our hands. This winter, flu and RSV are hitting South African families harder, earlier than expected. In fact, everything's been thrown up into the air. Now, we are going to unpack some practical ways to protect ourselves, our household, our kids, from vaccines to simple home care. And we've got pediatrician Dr. Anissa Vide back here with trusted, easy-to-follow advice. In fact, we've been loving our little winter chill chat so much we even got into COVID in the crazy journey. But I think in all areas of life we are normalizing and trying to get back to some kind of rhythm, even if it's a flu season rhythm. We want it. I think one area that has become politicized, and we talk about data being used in whatever agenda, when it comes to vaccines and those sorts of things, the preventative measures. Where do you sit in that space as someone who has to look after our children when the tire hits the tar? How do you feel, and what should we be
So
thinking?
the big thing is the flu vaccine. So that's going to protect against the influenza. And I think the big thing is that it's never too late to get that flu vaccine.
Really? Okay.
So it's beneficial no matter when you're going to get it, as long as it's out and it's available for that season. If you get it in the middle of the season now, it's going to take around 2 weeks to protect you, but it'll protect you for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the big things that we're trying to kind of remind our patients. Don't forget to get that flu vaccine.
And especially
Don't be
with that
scared.
flu season now extending
Exactly.
as much as it is.
And we can't predict how long it's going to be. Every year it's going to be a bit longer. With RSV, unfortunately, there's no vaccine. And it's the high-risk kids that we're kind of a bit worried about.
So then how do we protect the high-risk kids? What do we do in those cases?
So those high-risk patients, there's no prophylactic antibiotics because it's a virus. The big thing is with some of our high-risk patients, we can actually speak to the medical aides to ask them to try and protect, to write up an injection. It's a monoclonal antibody. So it's trying to kind
Write that down. I don't think you're going to remember it.
If you want to say it very fast, palivizumab or Synagis. It's a vaccine to try and add some immunity against the RSV. But the medical aids aren't paying for it because it's very expensive.
Okay.
And it's not really available actually in the state facilities. So it's only for a very small population that's actually affected by RSV. But I suspect in a year's time, we're going to have something different to talk about. There is a lot of research going on about RSV, and there's going to be a vaccine that will be available probably in the next year or two for our mothers to actually get to try and add that protection against the kids.
And when you hear about these sorts of things, I mean, we might be a year away from hydrogen energy free for the world. AI is changing the game, and I would imagine in the medical space, when it comes to testing and that part of the process, we're going to see breakthroughs beyond anything that we've
it's
seen.
definitely coming through very quickly at the moment.
I love that. So if vaccinations and that sort of thing are out of the cards, I loved from the COVID journey how we all went all out to protect each other. Should we be thinking like that again, looking at how widespread the problem is?
We
now?
do. So all of our COVID babies don't know about the masks. And I think we all I think our children that went through COVID season, they remembered, don't forget to wash your hands properly, use soap and water, sanitize, don't forget it. Everyone's forgotten about this simple
I still sing happy birthday while I'm washing my hands.
Exactly. So I think the big thing is basic hygiene, hand washing, using the sanitizer. If you're feeling sick, rather wear that mask. It'll protect you and everyone else from getting affected.
I think my greatest pain is when I think of how disruptive it is when one of our kids has to be sick, because it's not just them sick at home alone. A parent has to manage that situation in the context of South Africa, where single parents and gogos are looking after the majority of children in this kind of situation. How do we protect our children? Are there kind of ways that don't break the bank that we can look at protecting our household and looking after our kids, and especially when they get sick?
So I think the big thing is always keeping up with the multivitamins. So keeping up your iron levels, your vitamin Ds, your vitamin Cs, just to try and build up the immune system. And I think
Fortify, yeah.
Exactly. And I think the big thing is having that healthy diet, making sure you're getting outdoors, getting some natural sunlight. It'll get you out of that house to actually breathe fresh air, so you're not kind of percolating that bugs within the house, but also simple measures about, I think, making sure you always got saline spray to kind of flush out that nose when your child starts looking a bit ill, making sure you're speaking to your pharmacist, making sure you've got that little mini pharmacy at home, so when your child gets sick, especially at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know what to kind of lean towards.
And you would know this better than most. Often as a parent, you need the reassurance more than you need a solution.
Exactly.
You just need to know that they're going to be okay, because they will be okay.
Yeah.
Children are incredibly tough. Coexisting in the same space. Now, if one gets sick, and how do we manage that? And when is it okay to send them back to school? Is there a blanket answer for that?
So I think that generally by the time they're symptomatic, they've already been in that contagious stage for a day or two. So they've already kind of started spreading it to the rest of the family. But they are still kind of, especially with RSV, contagious up to 5 to 7 days after the onset of symptoms.
Okay.
So our big thing is keeping our children at home when they're getting sick, mostly to kind of keep that virus together, but also to prevent it spreading around like wildfire in the creches.
And it will, and schools are quite draconian. I say that looking right at you, schools, but I understand you've got to look after the rest of our kids as well. But thank you so much. I think it's going to take a united front in the right kind of way. And I'm sorry you've spoken about COVID so much, but I think it's good that we have a mass response to these mass surges as we're experiencing right now, so they can't get politicized and taken away from us. But thank you so much for quite literally looking after our kids. Hopefully that's given you a few tidbits there to think about. Most importantly, look after yourself and look after your little ones, because we love you too much and we want to see you tomorrow.